What if everything you thought you knew about hair loss is totally wrong? Most people assume it's genetics. Some blame hormones. Others buy expensive shampoos, try minoxidil, or maybe even consider hair transplants. But they're all treating the symptom and not the cause. Welcome to Longevity Lifestyle, where we blend ancient healing wisdom with modern science to give you practical solutions to live better, longer. And today, we're diving into one of the most misunderstood health issues, which is hair loss. Let's start by talking about what most dermatologists get wrong. They focus entirely on the hair follicle and a hormone called DHT that always gets blamed for hair loss. And then they might prescribe you some chemical which will most likely compound the problem by stressing the kidneys and liver. Would you be surprised to learn that hair loss doesn't even start on your scalp? It starts somewhere much deeper. So let's trace this down to its roots. See what I did there? You see, your hair doesn't live in isolation. It's part of an elaborate ecosystem. Your skin tissue is the foundation, and the follicle is the anchor that your hair not only grows from, but also holds on to. So if the tissue is depleted, the follicle has nothing to grab. Have you ever seen what happens to plants in a drought? Or maybe tried to hang something on drywall with no stud behind it? It's like that. So you can have perfect genes and follicles, but if the tissue beneath them is inflamed and depleted, the hair will fall out anyway. This is why only some people with genetic predisposition lose their hair, while others don't. Now you might be wondering, why does scalp tissue degrade in the first place? The answer almost always traces back to one place: your gut. Your digestive fire, what Ayurveda calls Agni, is the foundation of all health. When Agni is strong, you digest and absorb nutrients efficiently and maintain a healthy gut lining. When it's weak, food sits undigested, which means you'll start accumulating toxic buildup. Think a clogged drain. And also, your gut lining can become permeable, what's often called leaky gut. When that happens, undigested food particles and bacteria can cross over into your bloodstream. Your immune system recognizes these particles as threats and launches an inflammatory response. But because it's in your bloodstream, it travels everywhere. So why does this matter for hair? Well, when your gut is inflamed, you're not absorbing the zinc, iron, B vitamins, and amino acids your hair needs. You're also producing excess cortisol because chronic inflammation keeps your nervous system in a state of stress. And cortisol directly inhibits hair growth by pushing your system into survival mode, which means it shuts down all non-essential functions like hair growth. In Ayurveda, we understand health through three fundamental forces, or doshas, called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Think of them as different types of energy in your body. When they're balanced, you're healthy. When they're out of balance, meaning there's too much of one, problems arise. So how does that translate to hair loss? Well, an excess of Pitta creates too much heat in the body. That heat travels to your scalp and inflames the hair follicles. The inflammation weakens the roots and the hair falls out. According to Dr. Vasant Lad, one of the most well-respected Ayurvedic physicians in the world, hair loss is primarily a Pitta problem. But that doesn't mean that imbalances in the other two never come into play. When Vata is in excess, it dries everything out and your scalp becomes undernourished. Think of a desert with cracks in the ground. Reduced blood flow causes the follicles to weaken because they're not getting the moisture and nutrients they need. All this dryness causes the hair to break easily and gives the roots nothing to hold on to, which means it falls out. When Kapha is excessive, your scalp produces too much oil, which clogs the follicles and blocks hair growth. The scalp becomes heavy, congested, and sluggish. And then, you guessed it, the hair falls out. This is why some people can use the best shampoo, the best supplements, maybe even things like Minoxidil, and still lose their hair. They're treating the scalp or trying to chemically force hair growth while ignoring the base energetic imbalance. So now let's talk about what happens to your scalp when systemic inflammation shows up. Your scalp tissue becomes hyperinflamed, which causes the blood vessels to constrict. and that means less blood flow, less oxygen, and fewer nutrients reaching the follicles. And then the follicles, which are designed to be held firmly in place by healthy tissue, start to loosen. Now, once the follicles loosen, that makes the hair shed more easily. The body reads this as tissue damage, which then sparks another inflammation response. Then the inflammation weakens even more follicles, which means more hair falls out. And boom, you've got yourself a nasty little feedback loop. By the way, I'm curious, have you ever tried anything for your scalp or hair loss? Drop me a comment below. I love hearing what's worked for you and what hasn't. So what breaks this cycle? For real hair regrowth, you need to do 3 things. First, reduce systemic inflammation by fixing your gut health, reducing stress, and cleaning up your diet and lifestyle. Second, restore the health of the scalp tissue by nourishing, cooling, and hydrating the tissue at a cellular level. And third, support the follicles themselves while the environment improves. And that brings us to what inspired this video. There's a plant oil, relatively unknown outside of Central America, that does the second and third things simultaneously. The first depends on you because it requires a lifestyle shift. Researchers have been quietly studying this oil for the past few years, and what they're finding is remarkable. This oil is called Batana oil. It comes from a type of palm tree which grows natively in the rainforests of Honduras and Nicaragua, specifically among the Mosquito people. Unlike many Western treatments that focus on stimulating regrowth through chemical means, this oil works by restoring balance, feeding the scalp, reducing irritation, and creating the conditions where new growth can happen naturally. So what are the properties that make Batana oil work so well? It's both cooling and deeply nourishing. Ayurveda calls this pacifying Pitta, or in English, calming down excess heat, and inflammation is heat. And that's when I got excited, because this oil perfectly demonstrates the universality of the Ayurvedic approach, even though it comes from a completely different part of the world. You see, the word Ayurveda literally translates to the study of life, and that's all life, all of nature, really. And that's what makes it so powerful. It applies to everyone and everything, everywhere. If this blend of ancient wisdom and modern science makes you light up like it does me, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really helps this message reach more people. For centuries, the Mosquito people have called Batana oil the oil of life. They've used it for skin, hair, and wound healing. And they understood something that modern science is only just now catching up to. This oil doesn't just moisturize, it restores tissue. It's not just coating the surface, it's actually signaling your body to rebuild. And that is the key difference between Batana oil and most other oils. Now, in a minute, I'll share exactly how to use it step by step. But first, let me break down the science behind why it works so uniquely. This oil has an unusually high concentration of oleic acid, around 45%. Oleic acid has a molecular structure that allows it to pass through the skin's barriers more efficiently than most oils. It actively penetrates all the way down to the dermal layer, delivers moisture to the tissue, and reduces inflammatory signaling. It also contains significant amounts of linoleic acid, an essential fatty acid that's critical for maintaining the integrity of your skin barrier. When your scalp tissue is inflamed, the barrier is compromised. Linoleic acid rebuilds it. And then we have vitamin E, a lipid-soluble antioxidant that embeds itself in cell membranes and neutralizes free radicals before they can damage collagen and elastin in the scalp tissue. Furthermore, its fatty acid profile almost perfectly mimics the oils your scalp naturally produces. Your body recognizes it as native, which means it won't fight against it as a foreign substance. When you nourish the tissue and cool the inflammation, you restore the environment where hair can grow. The follicles don't have to fight to hold on anymore, which means they can focus on their actual job, producing hair. But it's important to keep in mind that this isn't instant. Hair has a 4-part growth cycle: a growth phase, a transition phase, a rest phase, and a shedding phase. You won't see new growth in 2 weeks, but in 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use, most people notice less shedding, stronger hair at the root, healthier scalp texture, and eventually new hair growth, especially at the hairline or in thinning areas. Now, this is where most videos stop, just talking about the oil. But what separates real hair growth from temporary improvement is how you use it. Use it wrong and you won't get the results you're looking for, but use it right? That changes everything. So what's the differentiating factor? You see, the mosquito don't just apply oil and hope or use the solid oil as a styling cream. They apply warm Batana oil to the entire scalp and hair, work it in with intention, and leave it on for hours, sometimes even overnight. Warming the oil increases penetration and signals to your nervous system that this is a nourishing, relaxing treatment. And you know what's cool? Ayurveda has a similar practice of massaging warm oil into the scalp and leaving it on to feed the tissue. Both traditions do this as a ritual. It isn't rushed. It is self-care that is embedded into their culture and community. Now, here's how this all ties together. Stress and disconnection accelerate hair loss. When you take the time to warm an oil, massage it into your scalp mindfully, and sit with it, you're not just delivering nutrients, you're regulating your nervous system. You're telling your body, we're in a state of safety and nourishment now. And that neurological shift is measurable. As cortisol decreases, your body relaxes into a restorative state. Now it has the resources available to allocate to repair and renewal, including hair regrowth. So, are you ready for your new hair treatment protocol? Okay, here we go. First, melt and warm the oil to just above body temperature. Not hot, just warm to the touch. This increases absorption and helps your body register the treatment as calming and nurturing. I like to warm mine in a Pyrex measuring cup because it makes it easy to pour. Next, part your hair and apply it directly to the scalp, not just the hair strands. Since we don't want to damage the already fragile tissue, use your fingertips, not your nails, to slowly massage it in. This gentle stimulation boosts circulation and sends signals to your whole system that it's safe to relax and repair. Then let it sit for at least 20 minutes. The sweet spot is a few hours. Finally, wash it out with warm water and a gentle shampoo. Don't use cold water as it closes the pores and will harden the oil. You want your pores open and the oil in its liquid state to absorb maximum benefits. Pro tip, when washing oil out of your hair, put the shampoo on before you get your hair wet. Lather, rinse, and then shampoo again. As far as frequency, you'll want to do this 1 to 3 times per week depending on your specific needs, not daily. More isn't better. Your scalp needs time to integrate the nourishment. Daily oiling can create buildup and paradoxically make things worse. As you use it, here's what you'll notice. The first time you use it, your hair will feel softer, and in the few weeks that follow, your scalp will feel calmer. By week 4, shedding stabilizes. Around weeks 5 to 8, hair feels stronger and some see early regrowth. By 3 months, density noticeably improves. But here's what separates people who see real results from people who don't. They also address their gut. While Batana oil is powerful and addresses the symptom beautifully, for real, lasting regrowth, you need to address the source. Practically, that means improving digestion, cutting inflammatory foods, and managing stress. The Batana oil is the local intervention. These are the systemic interventions. Together, they work. Separately, they're incomplete. Now, before we wrap up, I want to come back to the fact that Batana oil isn't just for hair. Because of its oleic acid content and antioxidant profile, Batana oil is excellent for dry, aging, or compromised skin. The same tissue restoring mechanisms that work on your scalp also work on the rest of your body. It's also worth mentioning that, like most things, Batana oil isn't universally perfect for everyone. Ayurveda teaches us to identify our base constitution and, more importantly, our current state of imbalance and adjust accordingly. For Pitta-dominant people, which means those who are prone to inflammation, heat sensitivity, and high metabolism, Batana oil is ideal. It directly cools and nourishes. You'll likely see the fastest results. For Kapha-dominant people, or those with thicker hair, slower metabolism, and a tendency towards congestion, you might want to warm the oil more, use it slightly less frequently, leave it on for less time, and maybe combine it with stimulating essential oils like rosemary or peppermint. Kapha needs activation, not just nourishment. For Vata-dominant people, or those with thin, dry, wispy hair and who are prone to worry and scattered thinking, Batana oil is deeply grounding. However, Vata types need consistency and routine above all else. The ritual matters more than the oil itself. Commit to the same time, the same day, the same practice. This is where generalized health advice fails and why Ayurveda's individualized, systemic approach is so powerful and works so beautifully. Now, I want to be clear. Batana oil isn't a miracle cure for genetic hair loss. There's no such thing as a miracle cure, and anyone who tells you differently is trying to sell you something. But it is one of the most scientifically validated plant oils for reducing scalp inflammation, restoring tissue health, improving blood flow to follicles, and supporting hair regrowth in cases where the follicles are still viable but malnourished. So if you're as excited about this amazing oil as I am and you want to give it a try, here's what you do. First, get a high-quality, cold-pressed Batana oil, not the stuff cut with coconut oil or mineral oil. I'll drop a link to a nice one in the description. Second, commit to oiling your scalp 1 to 3 times per week for at least 8 weeks. Track what happens to your scalp and hair, your stress levels, and your overall sense of well-being. The hair regrowth is one benefit, but the nervous system change might be even more profound. And last, but certainly not least, address your gut simultaneously. If you want real, lasting results, this part is not negotiable. And remember, the best treatment is one you'll actually do consistently. Make it a ritual, make it nourishing, make it real. All right, if you're ready to start working on your gut health but you're not sure where to start, check out one of these videos right here to help you on your journey to living a lifestyle built for longevity. Until next time.